by yourself. Then you can also get the book in the office free of charge. In the teaching, I will teach about the meditation and about the practice. So the teaching will be connection to each session. So it is better you should not miss the class. And maybe one session it will take about 2 hours. Maybe I think 2 to 4 is the evening session. Maybe tomorrow, the session is 9 to 10:30. So alternatively, the day after tomorrow, I will take 2 to 4. So afternoon session will take 2 hours, but morning session will take about 1.5 hours. So within the session, first I will discuss about what is the meditation, what is the purpose of meditation, and then benefits of meditation. And after that, we will meditate together. Now I would like to discuss about what is the meditation, what is the purpose of, main intention of the meditation. In the discussion, any question you can ask frankly. So in the discussion, do not mind for asking, because by asking your question, other people also can understand about the answer and beneficial by questioning, and it is stopping the doubts and suspicion about the practice. Maybe in the practice, some facts you may not totally understood it, but you should continue the practice. It will cause the more and more understanding. So I will try my best for explanation about the meditation, about the teaching. Now you join the retreat, you practice the meditation retreat. So what is the main purpose of your intention about the joining the retreat, about the practicing the retreat? And can you participate? What is the main purpose of practice? Can you answer?
To learn stuff about the meditation and to actually meditate.
Maybe we will have a different idea, different intention about the practice, but the main purpose of the practice is to be free from physical and mental suffering. Even the animals also would like to be free from suffering. We are trying a lot of business, a lot of traveling, a lot of learning, education, because we want to be free from suffering. We want to make less suffering. Even taking the religion or any belief, also we intend to stop or reduce our suffering. So we pray for the God, and then we make business, we earn money, we do the marriage, because we think our action, our business will give us happiness or less suffering in our life. But most of the people cannot be free from suffering totally. And then you will face a lot of suffering, you will get a lot of trouble and problems in our life. Why? Although people are trying to be free from suffering, but people are in troublesome and they are getting a lot of problems, a lot of conflicts in society. Why? answer why people are getting the suffering, facing the problems in our life. Although they want happiness, peace, and harmony to each other.
Because they don't know how to become free of suffering.
Yes. They don't know how to stop the suffering, and they are producing the causes of suffering.
But they don't know as well they are suffering.
Yes, there is one cause. Yeah.
Or like perhaps they can lose their expectations at some things in general.
Yes, they will have some attachment, some expectation, or craving, because they do not understand what is suffering and what is causes of suffering, and they do not understand how we can reduce the causes of suffering and how can liberate them from suffering. People do not understand in the right way. So, although they want to be free from suffering, but they cannot be free from suffering. So, that means we can find out the causes. That is, they don't know what is suffering, and they do not understand what is the origin of suffering, and then they do not understand how to be free from, how we can be free from suffering. So we are causing or generating or producing the causes of suffering, and we are facing the suffering and problems and conflict in our life. So before practicing meditation, first we should understand what is the origin of suffering, and then how we can be free from suffering, how we can stop the origin of suffering, or how we can stop the suffering. And this morning we didn't discuss or meditation morning discussion. So how do you understand what is the origin of suffering? Why people are suffering? So first we should understand the origin of suffering. Can you remember what are the origin of suffering? Can you understand?
The ignorance and the attachment.
Yes?
If you say this to people who doesn't know about Buddhism, if you say you're suffering because you're ignorant and you have attachment, I don't think they will understand, because the notion of ignorance, they will say, what do you mean by I am ignorant? So explain what is ignorance, please.
So many things like I cannot get what I want. It's like attachment. Maybe there is a definition to it.
Yes. Later we will discuss about more detail about what is ignorance, what is attachment. Yes, people are producing the attachment of defilements such as greed, anger, ignorance, jealousy, worries. So they are troublesome because of mental defilements. Buddha excludes three kinds of defilements that are origin of suffering, causes of suffering. In Pali language, we call lobha, dosa, moha. Lobha means attachment or craving about the sensual pleasure, about the object. Dosa means the anger or hatred or distraction about the situation, about the object. Moha means the ignorance or illusion or not understanding about the truth, about the reality. So these three these three defilements are origin of suffering, causes of suffering. Buddha is true that these three defilements are the true of origin of suffering. The true means that is always true, regardless of time or situation or religion or culture or any condition. Maybe whatever your religion, whatever your education, whatever your richness, whatever your belief, your mind is producing the greed, anger, ignorance, or delusion. Suffering or problems will happen in our life. So, greed, anger, and ignorance, or attachment, craving, wrong understanding, will be origin of suffering for any individual, for any person, regardless of time or situation or any condition, any causes. So first we should understand what is the origin of suffering. They are wrong understanding and attachment, or we can, on the alternative way, we can say greed, anger, and ignorance. Greed and anger, we can say that are attachment. If you have greedy mind about something good, or situation, or object, that is attachment. You have animosity or hatred about something, someone, or situation, that is also one kind of attachment. Attachment means liking or disliking, craving or anger, or distraction or clinging. So generally we should understand wrong understanding and attachment are origin of suffering, causes of suffering. In our practice, in our learning, we are trying to stop or reduce the origin of suffering. They are wrong understanding and attachment. They are greed, anger, and ignorance. Can you understand?
Can we shortly go into why there is why ignorance causes craving and aversion? What are we ignorant about? What are we ignorant about that makes us suffering? What are we when we say ignorance or wrong view is the cause for suffering?
Oh yes.
What are we ignorant about? What wrong view do we hold that we don't understand, or that we bring ourselves into suffering? Like the wrong understanding about the impermanence, no?
Yeah, yes. Yes. For example, we do not understand what is not real as not real, and we do not understand what is real as real. Maybe we do not understand what is truly right, what is truly wrong, what is real and what is not real. For example, the earth, the wall, the wind, the ocean, or the fire, or the earth are not belonging to someone or individual. But people are trying to occupy. This is my land, this is my place, this is my belonging. In fact, the earth or the wall or the ocean or the wind or the fire are just a natural process, natural energies that are not belonging to individual, or they are not personal belonging. But people are trying to occupy as personal belonging. It is I, mine. Because they do not understand nature as nature, natural process as natural process. So we try to occupy. It is I, mine, or personal belonging. So that is ignorance about the truth, about their nature. So even our body is just a natural process, natural phenomenon of energies. the breathing, circulation, digestion, excretion, nervous system, muscular system. They are working by their condition. We do not have the complete control of them. Even the breathing, we do not have the complete control of them. Circulation, digestion, metabolism, they are happening naturally regarding to their respective condition. But people do not understand. Natural processes, natural process. Physical processes, physical process. Mental processes, mental process. So they have misunderstanding. It is I, mine, or personal belonging. So we have strong attachment about the body, about the mind. It is personal belonging. It is individual. So we have strong attachment about the nature as I, mine. So that means wrong understanding will cause attachment. So for example, now I will criticize about the foreboding, the Manchester United. Maybe I angry. Maybe you are not be angry, but in Myanmar some young people are crazy about the Myanmar foreboding, English Premier League foreboding. So that means their mind judge, their mind creates. It is I, my favorite. Maybe I feel the bad things or criticizing about Manchester United. They feel angry. Why? Their mind judge. It is I, mine. In fact, I, mine is not reality. They are just a mental creation or concept. But they do not understand in the right way about the concept, about the mental creation. So they have the ignorance with the idea of I, mine. So they have strong attachment and they have strong emotion or anger come out regarding to the criticizing or saying bad things about their favorite, their judgment as I, mine. So that means wrong understanding, ignorance, and attachment will create the problems or conflict in our society. So first we should understand wrong understanding, ignorance, and attachment are origin of suffering. And later I will discuss more details about what is ignorance, what is wrong understanding. So in the practice, we are trying to reduce or stop the wrong understanding and attachment. So how we can stop or reduce these three defilements, greed, anger, and ignorance, or wrong understanding and attachment? So how we can stop these three defilements, greed, anger, and ignorance? Understanding how we can reduce or stop these three defilements become the meditation or the practice. So who can answer how we can stop or reduce the defilements or wrong understanding and attachment? That is we call meditation.
Yeah, we observe them.
Yes, roughly we can say we are trying to be mindful and understand in the right way. But Buddha is to the Noble Eightfold Path, Noble Eight Fetters to stop or reduce the defilements, the causes of suffering. So we need to develop the 8 fetters. 3 fetters are about the morality practice, and 3 fetters are about the concentration practice, and 2 fetters are about the wisdom or insight practice. We are trying to be free from suffering, but we are causing the suffering to others living beings. It is not reasonable. It is not fair in nature. So first, we should try to stop the causing the suffering. That means we should not harm to other living beings. If we want truly to be free from suffering, that means we should take the 5 precepts, or we should take the morality. Have you heard about the 5 precepts? And that is not to harm to others living beings because of our action. So if we want to be free from suffering, we should not cause suffering to others living beings. So generally, 5 actions we should try to stop. We should try to abandon, because these actions are harmful to others living beings. If you harm to others living beings, you cannot be free from suffering. That is cause and effect. So that means we should not try to kill, not killing, not stealing, not sexual misconduct, not telling lies or abuse, and not drinking alcohol or not using the intoxicants. They are harmful actions to ourselves and to our environment. So we should not cause the action that is suffering to ourselves and to our environments. So that is morality practice. So that is basic practice in our meditation. Not to harm to others living beings, not to cause physical and mental suffering to others living beings. For the monks, how to say, it is necessary to take the 227 rules, and that means precepts. But for the layman, we can take 5 or 8 precepts. And most of the rules of the monks are intended not to be suffering, not to be frustrated to others living beings, because of monks' action, monks' speaking. So that means our action, our speaking should not be harmful, should not be suffering to others living beings. Because causing the suffering means causing the mental defilements come out in other people's mind. By saying the abuse, by telling lies, by telling gossips. If someone heard about it, telling lies about him, he feels upset, he feels angry, that means you will cause producing the defilements in that respective people's minds. So we should not cause physical and mental suffering because of our action. So can you understand about the morality practice? So that is first practice in the meditation. Meditation is not just focusing on the something, not just sitting on the floor, not just stopping the thinking, but trying to develop morality practice, concentration practice, and wisdom practice. So first practice is morality practice. Second practice is concentration practice and samadhi. First practice is morality practice, we call sila. Sila practice. Second practice is samadhi, concentration practice. The Yogananda, he will also guide in the meditation to be calm down, to be peaceful, to be relaxed. And that is trying to teach about the concentration or relaxed mind or peaceful mind. But relaxed mind or peaceful mind or concentrated mind can arise depending on the mindfulness. Without the mindfulness, concentration cannot arise. Mindfulness is the key of the concentration practice. Mindfulness means attentive awareness at the present moment, at the present contact in our 6 sensitivities. Most of the meditation teacher or most of the meditator talk about the mindfulness. Where or when we can be mindful. So how you can understand mindfulness?
knowing what is happening on my senses, but not getting lost in my senses. So objective observing.
How you can understand what is mindfulness?
Not attached or reject anything, but just be present with everything that you experience. Let it come and let it go in the same moment. Just be there.
Yes, mindfulness means attentive awareness at the present moment with right understanding. Later I will discuss about what is right understanding, but now we should understand mindfulness should be at the right moment or right contact of our six sensitivities. To develop mindfulness, we should understand about our six senses and their corresponding object and their contents. Because mindfulness should be developed at every moment or every context of our six sensitivities with their corresponding objects. So, do you know about the six senses and six objects? Because mindfulness or awareness should be at the present contact or right contact of six sensitivities with their corresponding objects. So who can know about the six sensitivities?
Feeling, smell, taste,
Hear.
passion.
Physical, eye, hearing, breathing, smell, and mind, I think.
So six sensitivities, five sensitivity is about the physical nature, and one sensitivity is about the mental nature. Eye sense, ear sense, nose sense, tongue sense, body sense, and mind sense. So there will be six senses. Where we can develop mindfulness. These six senses cannot stay alone. They will come in contact with their corresponding objects. So what is the object for the mind, eye sense? Visible object. Visible object is the object for the eye sense. Sound object is the object for ear sense. So that means these six sensitivities will contact with their corresponding object. For the nose sense, it will contact with the smell object, and then tongue, it will contact with the taste, and then body sense, it will contact with the touching tangible object, and then for the mind sense, it will contact with the mental object. So at the moment of contact, we were trying just to be aware without attaching or without rejecting. So at the right moment of contact of our six sensitivities with their corresponding object, just to be aware, just to be knowing without attaching or without rejecting, that is we call mindfulness. That means mindfulness means attentive awareness or knowingness in the right contact of six senses without attaching or without rejecting about the object, about the content. Can you understand?
Mm-hmm.
So, when six senses will come in contact, their corresponding object at the nearly same time. Even now, six contacts can be happen, but six contacts cannot happen at the same time. At the same time, they will happen one after another. But that contact is very fast, very smooth, very subtle. So we think these six contacts appear to be happen at the same time. For example, what is happening now? What kind of contact is happening now?
Eye contact and hearing contact. Vision.
Now you will see my body, my appearance, that is seeing contact, eye contact, and now my voice appearing, and then sound contact produced to your eye sensitivities. Maybe the temperature is hot, or maybe your body sense contact with the hotness, that is bodily touch. And maybe your hand is touching to each other, so that is also touching is happening now. And maybe you sit for a long time, and maybe you feel painful or discomfort in your body, so you adjust your body. That is also contact. Your body is also pressing down on the chair. So that is also contact happening. So at the right moment, at the right now, even the right now, what object we can be mindful? Because the contact, such contact can happen at the same time. So we need to choose what kind of object we should be mindful. So for the beginner, we suggest to be mindful about the breathing, because that contact is happening nearly every present moment. But sometimes for the present situation, the hearing contact is more evident than the breathing. For that situation, you should be mindful about the hearing or hearing contact. But no more special contact is not happening now. You should be mindful about the breathing. But Buddha also talked about the 4 kinds of mindfulness. One is mindfulness regarding to the body. Second is mindfulness regarding to the mind or mental process. And that is mindfulness regarding to the feeling or sensation. And that is mindfulness about the nature or natural process. So meditation object will be different to each other or to each moment to moment. So our main intention is just to be mindful, just to be developed at the right moment of contact in our 6 sensitivities. Now, I'm teaching, my voice is touching to your ear sense, but your mind focus on your touching of your hands to each other. So that means that touching will be the present contact or present mindfulness. Now you can hold on your hands. Can you hold up? Maybe you touch your fingers to each other for a moment, and then your mind focus on the touching area of your fingers to each other. Maybe you can feel vibration, sensation, and some energies, some so you can put down. So that means at the moment of your mind focusing or attention to the right moment, that will be the present moment object or present moment intention, or mindfulness can arise depending on the present your mental intention or present moment focusing. So mindfulness means attentive awareness or mental focusing depending on your mental choice, depending on your experience. So,
excuse me, you just say depending on your mental choice. Mental choice. Who is making the mental choice?
yes.
All depends on your mental choice, you say.
Yes, for example, on the my teaching. For the some people do not listen. Even my teaching, and he tries to focus on the breathing only. So sometimes I remind the class, in the discussion, you should not focus on the breathing. You should pay your attention for the subject, what I'm saying. But she do not follow my instruction, and his mind pay attention on the breathing only. That means his mental try is about the breathing only. So his mind will know only the breathing, but his mind will not understand about what I say. So that means that is mental choice. Because how I try to be mindful only her breathing. She do not try, he do not choose to pay attention about my teaching, about my subjects.
So how can you explain that, okay, I'm listening to you, and suddenly my attention will be attracted by the bird. I don't have the intention to listen to the bird, but I want to listen to you. So why my attention is take out? Because I want to listen to you, but suddenly, so why?
Yes, later I discuss about the condition of causes. That means the previous condition, the previous habit, draw your attention. That means choice. Choice means the past condition make your choice. Even the meditators, although we are trying to make the choice, only the breathing, but the mind cannot stay in the breathing, and the mind talk about think about the future and think about the past. So that means
Why?
that means past attachment. Past attachment making your mental choice. That means past attachment, past habit, conditioning about the mental choice.
That's the nature of the mind, right? That's the nature of the mind. It cannot be last for one object.
Yes, nature means the past condition are affecting the present moment. That is cause and effect. So cause and effect become the nature of the mind or mental habit. But you can overcome the past habit, past attachment, maybe how to say, thinking about the past or future cannot happen frequently.
If your mind was fully satisfied with his voice, it would not go away. There is unsatisfaction, we think, but it's not. It's in everybody.
Yes, there are many causes. Maybe interest, belief, how to say, understanding. Although you believe about the teaching by Sanford, you cannot understand, so you lost interest. You also maybe other thought may arise. Maybe now you join a retreat, but before joining the retreat, you do not justify about some issue and you are angry about your friends. So even although you are trying to listen my teaching, but you always think about that issue again and again. So that means past anger, past attachment is causing your mental focusing. So second is concentration practice or mindfulness practice. That is second practice in the meditation. And samadhi, in Bali language we call samadhi. And that subject, that practice is wisdom or panya, wisdom practice. Panya, we translate wisdom or insight or right understanding practice. In the Vedic Format, the Buddha is two factors. They are right understanding and right analyzing or right thinking about the truth. So wisdom means understanding about the truth, about the reality. Although you say you are educated, you have a lot of degree, but you cannot understand what is the truth, what is the reality, what is the sense of your education. So to have the wisdom, to have the insight, we need to understand what is real as real, what is not real as not real, what is truly right and what is truly wrong. The truth means always true, regardless of time or situation or religion or culture or condition. Maybe one issue in one culture, one religion, that is right, but in other religion, other culture, that is not right. So how we can believe? The truth should be always true, regardless of time or situation or religion or culture. For example, anger is hot. And maybe at the moment of feeling anger, you cannot be happy, you cannot be comfortable around moments. That is always true, regardless of time or situation or religion or individual or any race, any nationality. So that means the suffering nature of anger is always true for any person, for any religion, for any belief. So that means the truth should be always true, regardless of time or situation or individual. So to have the wisdom, we should understand the truth that is always true. The truth that is always true, we call original truth. And then the truth cannot be true forever and it will change according to time or situation. That is not real truth. That is just created truth. That is just fake truth. So to have the wisdom, to have the right understanding, we should understand two kinds of truth, two kinds of reality. What are they? One is created truth or fake truth, and the other is original truth or real truth. For example, I, mine are not real truth, because it is not always true. It will change according to time or situation or condition. Now the body is I, mine, but after maybe 100 years later, my body became dead and it is buried in the ground. It will change to fertilizer. It will change to other elements. So it cannot be belonged to as I, mine, or forever. Now I bought the phone. At the moment of getting in my hand, I can say that is mine. But maybe someone steal my phone and get away. My phone cannot be mine. It will change to his. Now my country is Myanmar, but I migrate to the United States. So my nationality will be changed from Myanmar to United States. So I, mine is not always true. It will change to God. It will change to other situation, depending on time or condition. So the wall, the art, the wind, the fire, the nature are not belonging to personal. Even our body is not personal belonging. They are also just a natural process, natural phenomenon. But people do not understand in the right way about their nature. So we think that is I, mine. I, mine is not the original truth. But they are just a mental creation or concept. Some Myanmar people are crazy about the Manchester United because their mind judge, their mind create. It is I, mine. Manchester United is not existing. Their mind as original existence. Because since they are born, they do not know about the Manchester United. But their environment, their friends talk about the English Premier League football teams. So their mind create, that is I, mine. So I, mine is not original existence. But they are just a mental creation or concept. We call creator truths. Creator truths are not truly existing in nature, but they appear to be existing in our perception because of our mental creation or ignorance or illusion. Can you understand? So first we should understand creator truth as creator truth. I, mine, personal belonging, or something, someone, are just a concept or creator truth. They are not truly existing in nature, but they appear to be existing because of our mental creation or ignorance or illusion. Can you give one example about one kind of creator truth?
Nationality.
And later, I will discuss about the 7 kinds of creator truth. We can classify the 7 kinds of creator truth, and now I would like to discuss about one kind of creator truth, and that is regarding to the composition. For example, the cake. The cake is not the original existence in nature for the food, but people create the food, create the cake by the combination of a lot of ingredients. We combine a lot of wheat, sugar, butter, eggs, soda, powder, and so on. So which one is cake? Is wheat cake? Is sugar cake? Is egg cake? Which ingredient is cake? Which ingredient is existing as the cake? If we separate a lot of ingredients in different areas, which one is cake? Which area is cake? Cake is just a labeling or naming for the combination of a lot of ingredients. So cake is just a concept or mental creation depending on the combination or composition of a lot of ingredients. So cake is just a concept or creator truth. Creator truths are not real if we can analyze by insight or wisdom. But you cannot analyze by insight or wisdom. The creator truths or cake or I, mine appear to be real. My name is Soe Win Htut. I am a human. So what is human? What is I? What is Soe Win Htut? Now you can see my appearance. The so-called I or Soe Win Htut is just a combination of 32 organs, maybe hair, teeth, nails, skin, fur, bones, lungs, stomach, and so on. So is hair Soe Win Htut or human? Is teeth Soe Win Htut or human? Is nail Soe Win Htut or human? Is bone Soe Win Htut or human? Is stomach Soe Win Htut or human? Is lung Soe Win Htut or human? So which one is Soe Win Htut? Which one is human? The so-called human or Soe Win Htut is just a combination of a lot of organs, a lot of items, like the cake. It is just a concept or creator truth. The reality is just a combination of a lot of items. On the same way, the Soe Win Htut, human, animal, I, something, someone are just a concept or creator truth. The reality is just a combination of a lot of items, a lot of different things together. So first we should understand I, mine, something, someone are not real, not original existence, but they are just a concept or they are just a mental creation of creator truth. Creator truths are just for using only, just for knowing only, without taking serious or without taking as existent. But creator truths are useful for doing good deeds, for spiritual development. So we will use the greater truth in the right way without attaching or rejecting. So to have the wisdom or right understanding, we should understand greater truth as greater truth, and we will use the greater truth in the right way without attaching or without rejecting. And then, at the same time, we should understand about the other truth, that is real truth, we call original truth. Real truth means that is always true, regardless of time or situation. Greater truths are not always true. It will change according to time or situation or condition. But original truth will be always true, regardless of time or situation or religion or culture or other situation. But original truth, we will discuss later. Maybe now we will meditate together for 45 minutes, and then next 15 minutes I will discuss roughly about what are the original truth. Now, you want to break? Huh? So maybe 3 minutes break.